What's going on, y'all? Listen, I wanted to come on here and do a slightly different type of video, but I really wanted to do it because I decided to do I guess you could say, a little deep dive into my analytics. I think I did this before, but not to the extent of which I'm doing right now. And this was a while, and if I did do it before, it was a while ago. When I say a while ago, I'm talking about a few thousand, maybe more subscribers ago when I decided to do this. And what made me want to do it is I was trying to make a little bit of adjustments as far as like upload times and everything like that. I'm constantly always making maneuvers because the analytics will change and algorithms will change every, couple of weeks or maybe every couple of months. That's just the life of a person who does content on this platform. But I decided to go into it a little bit more interestingly. But the first thing I want to go over was something called audience behavior. And as y'all can see on the screen, audience behavior is defined as the patterns and preferences of how people interact with content, products, and brands. It involves studying how an audience consumes information, including their media habits, engagement levels, and purchasing decisions, to understand what motivates them. This analysis is crucial for creating more effective and personalized communication strategies. So basically in this video, that's what I'm going over. Is technically, even though this is analytical, I'm going over audience behavior because in my analytics, for those of y'all who don't create content on YouTube, it breaks down everything. It breaks down things from people, from the age range of people who watch your content from highest to lowest. It breaks down gender, male and female, who watches more or less. It breaks down the regions, like if you're in the US, if you're overseas, all of that. It breaks down where you watch it from, whether it's on your TV, your phone, a laptop, computer, a smartphone. It breaks down everything. It even breaks down when people are online the most versus when they're online the least. So they really break it all the way down. But one thing they also break down is who your audience, and they're talking about your audience, in my case, my audience, watches the most. I mean, it breaks it down from regular pre-uploaded videos, live streams, shorts, all of that good thing. But I wanted to keep it more so in the pre-records because when for one, I don't go live often, and when I do, it's usually a compilation of various topics versus where a lot of people who do typically go live may go live more than I do, and it might be around one singular topic. So I wanted to keep it more in the realm of pre-records because I do more of those throughout the week than live streams. And what y'all are going to find in here is going to be very interesting. It actually kind of shocked me when I was pulling up the information. So what I decided to do, and the first one I'm going to go over is what my audience has watched as far as videos go from certain content creators just in the last 7 days. Mind you, I'm recording this on November the 6th, 2025. So by the time this video gets uploaded, it might shift a little bit, but probably not that much. So it's broken down into 3 pages. So I'm gonna go page by page so people can understand what it is that they're looking at. And it starts from the bottom and works its way up. So from the bottom, the first one that people watched quite a bit from my channel was white men finally give Myron, and they're talking about Amru, what he deserves. And that's coming from the Celebrity Junk channel. For those of y'all who don't know what the Celebrity Junk is, that is O'Shea Duke Jackson's other channel. As you know, he has 2 of them. He has the O'Shea Duke Jackson channel, and then he has the Celebrity Junk. The Celebrity Junk is his main channel. And I have a feeling the reason why a lot of people probably watch that particular video is because, again, of the topic. It's on Amru, aka Myron Gaines, who we all know we cannot stand. The next one was from the Tabitha Speaks Politics, which is titled Republicans Are Upset That Black Voters Aren't Supporting Winsome Earl Sears. So that was another person that they watched. Now, mind you, some of these people I'm not even subscribed to, but some of y'all who are watching this may be subscribed to them, or maybe you watch their content, and what happens is YouTube will push them onto your screen on your recommendeds because of, again, what I said in the beginning, audience behavior, which also turns into pattern recognition. Think of it like when if you have Instagram and when you search certain things, what happens is if you do it so much, the algorithm is going to send you more of it to the point where that's all that's going to pop up on your explore page on Instagram. Same thing with Facebook, and Facebook kind of works like Instagram a little bit because they're owned by the same people. Same thing with Twitter, any kind of social media, that's how that typically works. The next one was Anton Daniels' Worst Nightmare Just Came True, which comes from O'Shea Duke Jackson's main channel. And again, look at the topic. It's on Anton Daniels. And if you notice, these are topics that or people I may have spoken on, or people that people think that I would or should speak on. The next one was The Amazing Lucas, where he says the guilty verdict in the Sonia Massey case is not justice. Of course, we all know that case was Sonia Massey. The next one is from friend to the channel, Antonio Talks, and shout out to Antonio. He says black men do not belong in red pill spaces. So that was page number 3. Let's move on to page number 2. So starting at the bottom of page number 2, you have Tariq Radio. Of course, you know that's Tariq Nasheed. That's his channel. And it was a video called Tether Troll Gets Schooled on FBA Lineage. Now, we all know that whenever Tariq does videos like this, these always get high numbers because people love when he roasts these individuals in the calm but very petty tone that he uses. Then the next one was Reese Waters. Officer Tatum finds out how MAGA really feels, again, because it's about Fake'em. People are going to flock to that, especially if they have a large audience, which Reese Waters definitely has. Another Reese Waters videos, Candace Owens Black Conservative Tour packed up by HBCU. Now, y'all know I did a video recently, well, maybe not that recent, but you know about the Blexit going to these HBCUs and trying to do these tours, which actually did pretty decent numbers. So those kind of videos kind of like hand in hand because they're pretty much centered around the same topic. The next one was from Tariq Radio. It says the brick lady was found guilty of fraud. Of course, he's talking about Rhoda Osman. Now, I didn't do a whole separate video on her. Maybe I did back when this was first going on, but as far as an update, I just decided to throw that into one of my weekly recaps instead of doing a whole separate video on just her situation. And the one rounding out page 2 is CJ's perspective, and he says the title of his video is called It's Starting to Catch Up to Them. And I believe that was him talking about MAGA and things that's going on over there. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's what the topic was about. Now, before I bring up page number 1, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I saw what was on page number 1, I was actually very, very surprised. So this is page number 1 of what people have been watching in the last 7 days as far as videos go. Every last video on page number 1 was from the Amazing Lucas channel. Now, again, this does not mean that the majority of my audience who watches his stuff, that doesn't mean that necessarily subscribe to him, or it could be that, like I said, pattern recognition, audience behavior. Y'all are watching a lot of his content, and that's not every single person, but there are quite a few people on my channel who are watching it, and these were the videos that they were watching. Nick Fuentes just humiliated Brandon Tatum on camera. Some white people are losing SNAP benefits. They're blaming black people for Winsome Sears' inevitable loss in Virginia. Nick Fuentes just sparked the conservative civil war, and Brandon Tatum is learning what his audience really thinks of him. So again, audience behavior, pattern recognition. Who is he talking about a lot? Brandon Fake'em and Nick Fuentes. And of course, you know, the SNAP benefits, because of the thing of always being put onto black people that we are the ones that's benefiting the most from SNAP benefits and welfare and WIC, but here we are, and it's being exposed that is being proven otherwise. So again, some people may not be fans of everything that Amazing Lucas says, but because it's these topics, and y'all know I talk about something along those lines, if it's not coming from me, you're gonna find it from somewhere else, and this is where most people found it, was right here. And then on top of that, Amazing Lucas, I think he uploads more frequently than I do. So if I'm not going to talk about it, he might talk about it. If he's not going to talk about it, I might talk about it, or we might both talk about it. But yeah, these are the analytics right here from the last 7 days, the last week, from today's date, which is November the 6th. Actually, I think it's from the 5th because the 6th is not a complete day by the time I'm recording this. It's still early in the morning. So it captured from yesterday, which was the 5th, all the way back exactly 7 days ago, which was that last Wednesday. So that was very interesting. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead, now that I've gone over individual videos, now I'm gonna show y'all the analytics for the last 28 days, what my audience, who they've been watching as far as channels overall. Now this is gonna be even more interesting. So starting on page 3, again, it says channels your audience watches in the last 28 days. So basically the last, rounded up, just say the last month. Starting at the bottom, the Celebrity Junk. After that, Antonio Talks. Then you have the Black Authority. Then you have Lady Boulay and Emancipation Media. So those right there on page 3, those are people that my audience channels they've watched in the last 28 days. Not just regular individual videos, but channels overall. Which is interesting because when I looked at the other one, those were videos. Now, if you notice, out of all of these, the Black Authority, Lady Boulay, and Emancipation Media, their individual videos were not anywhere. But I think you wouldn't find Black Authority because he does lives, so it wouldn't pop up there. But Lady Boulay and Emancipation Media, they do regular uploads, but they weren't showing up in the most watched videos in the last 7 days. But channels overall, that's where it popped up. That's why I'm doing this breakdown, because that's why I said this part was going to be interesting. So now you can compare and contrast how this works. See, it's a difference between you watching individual videos versus when you're watching entire channels overall. On page 2, you have Jew Almighty, and shout out to Jew Almighty, your O'Shea Du Jackson, Sabby Sabs, the Philip Scott Podcast, and Taylor House Publishing. Out of all of these, O'Shea Du Jackson was the only ones who popped up on the individuals part as far as who watched in the last 7 days. Everybody else, none of their videos popped up on the other part of the video where I was going over individual videos, but overall their channels are being watched a lot by people who are subscribed to me. And I'm familiar with all of these channels. Every last one. I've watched content on every last one of their channels, but it's only, I think, 4 of them that I'm subscribed to. So I thought that was also very interesting. Again, much like I did on page 3, the same reflects on page 2. And then to round it out on page 1, you have the African Diaspora News Channel, Young Don Reacts, Tariq Radio, The Amazing Lucas, and Reese Waters. Now, what's interesting is that I'm subscribed to maybe 4 out of the 5 on this channel, but Tariq Radio, The Amazing Lucas, and Reese Waters were the only 3 out of the 5 on this page that showed up again as individual videos that people watched on that channel. But as channels overall, these were the top 5 that people watched on here. And I can see why Young Don Reacts pops up on there, because he reacts to a lot of Antonio Speaks and Antonio Talks videos, and ironically his channel popped up on this page as well as the other one, so I can see why his popped up there. But again, audience behavior, pattern recognition, and that's basically the breakdown right there of how all of this works. Now, what's very interesting is if you've seen people who have popped up on who videos they've watched in the last 7 days, and they also popped up on whose channel they watched in the last 28 days, that just shows you they probably have a huge audience retention and they're gaining new subscribers every single day. But really, what it all boils down to is this: as long as I'm continuing to make content that lines up, of course, with whatever it is that I'm always talking about, but other people like the ones I just went over are talking about the same thing, it's going to be like a revolving door of content. It'll never slow down. It'll never get stale. It'll never get old. That's why I said that when it comes to making content and doing and talking about certain things, if you're not going to hear from one person, you're going to hear from another person. And even if you do hear something from one person, they're not going to say the same thing as somebody else. You're always going to look for different perspectives on things to see if there's contrast there, because not everyone wants to sound like a parrot and repeating the same thing that someone else said. You want to see what other people are going to say on various different topics. Even if y'all are talking about the same thing, y'all may agree or disagree on certain things. So that's why they're constantly doing it. But I really wanted to bring that to my audience's attention, because I wanted y'all to see, again, this is what y'all are watching. Okay, I just wanted to point that out to you. This is what y'all have been watching. Now, again, this doesn't apply to every last person, but they're saying what they're saying is the majority of my audience are watching these. This is who they are watching. And what it tells me is that, oh, if that's what they're watching, maybe I should kind of, I guess you could say, piggyback off of some of the stuff that they talked about. I don't have to piggyback on every single thing because that would cause a burnout, and I'm not about to do that. So still talk about what I'm talking about, but also look and see what they're saying. See if I can add something in there. If there's nothing I can add, then there's no need to mention anything. But if there's something or a perspective that is there that I could add to it, go ahead and do that. That's basically how all of this works. Now, again, what's going to end up happening, I probably won't do it again, is that in, a week from now, or, a whole month from now, this can possibly change. It might be a slight shift there. As a matter of fact, I'm almost certain that it will be, because again, audience behavior, pattern recognition always changes every single time.
But wait, there's more.
So about 20 plus days have passed since I uploaded the first part, since I recorded the first part of this video up until this little, the little breaking point. And I wanted to show y'all basically what I mean when I say how viewing patterns change over time. Because if you look here and the subsequent pictures that I'm going to throw into this part of the video, you'll notice that there's a difference. Like, things are rearranged in a different order. Some people ended up dropping off. Some people ended up getting added on. Some people started watching different type of things. And that's why I say going back to pattern behavior and pattern recognition and audience behavior and algorithm behavior and all of that, because the ranking, even how things are listed, are even different from what the previous part was. If you go back and look at the beginning part, you'll notice, and come back and look at this part and notice that there's the comparison of the differences. You'll have some people that videos are higher. You'll even notice that the subscriber counts have grown, like as far as their numbers have increased since I recorded the first part of the video, which was on the 6th. I'm updating this part on the 25th, which is 19 days later. So this is just the results of what happened after 19 days. Not a whole 20 days have passed when I'm adding in this part right here. So I just wanted to throw this part in there again to just show y'all this is who y'all are watching, like, for the most part. And some of them I'm actually kind of shocked that some of y'all are watching, but some I'm not surprised either, because there are quite a few people that's on this list that I do watch consistently. There are others that I'll see in passing, and others I don't watch at all, but that's just the pattern behavior of what my subscribers is. But I wanted to throw this update in here so y'all can see a comparison and contrast between what I upload or what I spoke about on the 6th versus what I'm talking about now on the 25th.